effective form of propaganda. I did not know this fact. I have a love of music and dance, and I rarely watch films. I only watch films when obligated. It seems an obvious fact when stated that film is the most effective form of propaganda. The Nazis used film. I knew that, but I never thought about it further. I did not draw parallels between the Nazis' use of propaganda and my own government's use of film. I was also unaware that the Department of Defense consulted and co-wrote on popular films the American public watches today. The film I viewed was Real Bad Arabs. It was based on the book of the same name by Dr. Jack Shahan. Dr. Shahan is a professor whose concentration was racism and Orientalism. Born to Christian Lebanese immigrants in Pittsburgh, his life work was spent exploring and exposing stereotypes in popular culture, particularly in movies. In 2006 film based on his book Real Bad Arabs, Dr. Shahan points out when viewing a film, we ask ourselves, is this movie meant to unite us or divide us? Is one of the film's tasks to bring people together in their humanity or to separate them? Movies are often categorized as entertainment. Can the intention of a film be both to amuse us and to subtly influence our thoughts? Can movies be both entertainment and propaganda? Is propaganda an art? Is the art of propaganda to delicately shift our opinions while we're happily distracted and unaware? Dr. Shahan discusses the clever and consistent use of stereotypes in movies to shape American culture's ideas of who and what Arab people are. These stereotypes are old, much older than 9/11. Americans inherited early images from Europeans over 100 years ago. The images, when pointed out, are also eerily familiar. I played A Whole New World incessantly on the violin as a child. I held endless adoration for Aladdin. Aladdin is a near-perfect example of the Ali Baba in a kit stereotype. It starts with infinite deserts filled with camels, beautiful and exotic women, snakes coming out of baskets, open-aired bazaars, generally a parrot or two, swords and dangerous tribes, and with a sheik. And the magic carpet, always the magic carpet. Perhaps a genie. This is a standard formula for Arab land. Exotic, slightly sexual, a little bit dangerous, a little bit barbaric, but intriguing. This is the kit that makes up Arab land, the backdrop upon which all of their stereotypes are played out. Arab men and women are portrayed as buffoons, inept and incompetent, too rich and too stupid to know the value of money. They may have money, but they spend it unwisely and capriciously. This dovetails with another myth popular in the 1970s, that the mission of the Arab people was to buy up all of America. This is an ironic projection, suggesting the Arab people wanted to colonize the United States by purchasing all publicly available utilities and land until the American people were subjects of answering to the Arab people and subjects of an Arab sheikh, much like the American government does to other less developed countries. The Arab sheikh is another powerful Hollywood image and stereotype. It is exclusively male. Sheikhs are never female. The sheikh is the all-powerful buffoon. He can bribe and be bribed. He's corruptible and will corrupt others to satisfy his ends. His greed is limitless. He's not to be trusted. The sheikh is the ultimate extension of the basic Arab stereotype. The most basic of the Arab stereotypes is the villainous Arab. This applies to both genders, perhaps a little more to men. Arab people are seen as thieves, devious, treacherous, willing to steal and double deal. Arab people should be regarded with suspicion and not be trusted. Arab men should not be trusted with American women, especially blonde-haired, blue-eyed women. The lecherous Arab man is the most enduring of stereotypes, highly sexual, lewd, willing to stop at nothing to obtain the beautiful American women. He's even willing to stoop to kidnapping. The lustful Arab man is always trying to add more women to his harem, especially blonde women to his harem, is an enduring myth. The highly sexualized belly dancer in the harem is also a lasting stereotype. This one is particular to women. It is an integral ingredient in the Alibaba in a kit. It is reductionist. It alchemizes the women into a one-dimensional party object. It is not seen much recently. Curiously, the unique female role of the Arab women pivoted from belly dancer to bomber. Beginning in the 1980s, women were seen as terrorists, bombing the United States. This again strips her of her humanity or unique motivations and assigns them to a role designated in a propaganda narrative. The common denominator of these stereotypes is dehumanization. This directly stems from the most pernicious stereotype, that the Arab people are subhuman, that the Arab people are not fully human, deserving of their basic human rights and dignity. I think we have to ask ourselves why. Why would that message be communicated? Why is there a need for that message? Who or what is communicating that message and to what ends? In the film, the relationship between Hollywood, Washington, D.C., and the Department of Defense is explored. There is a direct correlation between Hollywood's treatment of the Arab people in the film and Washington, D.C.'s political agenda. Washington, D.C.'s support of Israel has never wavered. The same support is not extended to the Arab people. We can see this political support of the Israeli people in films. Arab people are vilified. There is no empathy allowed for the Arab people. The Arab people are not allowed to be humanized in the same way as the Israeli people are allowed to be humanized. I am not a film watcher myself, and I'm not sure if we, as Americans, are asked these questions when watching films. What is the purpose of this film? Who in this film is being humanized or dehumanized? Who wrote this film and why? And what is the message of this film? I was unaware the Department of Defense was consulted or co-wrote films. They do. The 2000 film Rules of Engagement was written by former Secretary of the Navy Jim Webb. The Department of Defense consulted on the movie. The movie takes place in Yemen, a military trial is in progress to determine whether war crimes were committed. The prosecutor sees a small girl missing a leg and follows her to the hospital. The hospital is filled with disabled and dying people, especially children and the elderly. At the hospital, the prosecutor finds a cassette tape. The tape is a recording of Arab people discussing how all American people should die. The prosecutor discovers it was a little girl with the missing leg who shot at the American soldiers first. This caused the American soldiers to open fire and say, "Waste the motherfuckers," resulting in the deaths and maimings of Yemeni civilians. The fact that the small girl shot at the American soldiers first is supposed to justify the deaths of the entire Yemeni people to the American audience. Is this meant to unite us or to separate us? What is the task of this movie? What message is this movie trying to convey to us? Who wrote this movie? Who is this? And why was who wrote the movie and was this openly disclosed? Is there a difference between entertainment and propaganda? Is there a difference between propaganda and art? Is propaganda art? As for myself, I'm going to continue to abstain from watching films. It's cheaper to continue to take child lessons and better for my mental health.